So what if it just takes your nervous system some time to get accustomed to showing up confidently and consistently? What if you didn't beat yourself up for showing up, feeling hard or difficult, because you know it is just your brain and your body getting on board with this foreign action you're not used to taking? You're listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, a business and mindset coach who specializes in imposter syndrome. If you feel like you're not as smart, capable, or worthy as you actually are, and that someone is going to find you out, then you've come to the right place. I went from being a struggling government worker, working my coaching business on the side, but feeling unworthy and burnt out, to making multiple six figures helping women overcome imposter syndrome so they too can sign clients, make bank, and have the business or career of their dreams. I am nothing special. I have a stuttering disability, ADHD, and I struggle with anxiety and depression. So if I can learn how to feel good enough and overcome my inner imposter, then so can you. Let's dig in. Hi babes, welcome back to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. I'm your host, Jill Perrick, business and mindset mentor for coaches who want to overcome imposter syndrome and mindset blocks so they can show up confidently and consistently, sign clients, and grow their coaching businesses. I'm so happy to be here with you, and I hope that your January has been off to a fantastic start. I am loving working with my 10 plus one-to-one clients, and I actually implemented a new perk for them. I'm doing monthly workshops and group calls so they can all meet and learn from each other and me even more than just the brand new curriculum and their weekly one-to-one coaching calls with me. It is the best time to be a one-to-one client in my opinion, and there are only a couple more days for you to take advantage of my 2022 rate of $8,000. This rate will be increasing on February 1st. So head to the show notes to book your sales call to become worthy and wealthy, which is my 6 months of one-to-one coaching program. Like I said, if you book your sales call between now and January 31st, I will honor the $8,000 rate before the price increases on February 1st. Payment plans are available. And let's get into it today. Something I work on extensively with my one-to-one clients is today's topic, the fear of being seen, as well as being seen as braggy in the online space. Because here's the thing, y'all. So many of us as young women have been conditioned to not take up space. We've been taught not to need help. We've been taught not to brag or boast. We've been taught to dim our light so other people won't feel uncomfortable. And yet, here you are, a fucking coach on the internet. And it is basically a requirement to get in your audience's face every day and say, hey, pay me thousands of dollars, please. And if getting in your audience's face, if that statement made you cringe, it's true, whether it's cringy or not, you're on a proverbial stage, talking yourself and your services up and compelling your audience to work with you every single fucking day. And this is extremely unnatural for about 90% of the population. So if you beat yourself up, literally don't. You are a normal human being, and it makes total sense, especially if you have wanted to stay small, quiet, and insignificant your whole life, that showing up on social media and being seen and talking yourself up would be difficult. It was super hard for me. I didn't even like my friends focusing on me when I had conversations with them. I always pointed the conversation towards them and what they were up to. I was so uncomfortable with compliments and receiving, and this is actually something I've had to heal for my money mindset to improve. And from a historical perspective, this all makes sense. Pack mentality is real, and there is safety in being a part of the pack. So when you show up on social media, you are literally separating yourself from the pack, and that can feel super dangerous to the primitive mind. It can honestly feel like we are heading for certain death to our nervous systems. It can feel jarring and completely unsafe, and can be very dysregulating to show up on social media. If you feel anxious or nervous before you show up, before you go live, or if you go into a freeze or fawn response, which is a passive or frozen state when trying to create content, this is an alarm bell from your nervous system that you feel unsafe, even if it's just a very subtle change in your physiology. And it makes sense. It makes total sense why you would feel this way. I actually have a little meditation and an EFT tapping sequence that I made exclusively for my clients for when they are about to do content creation or show up, because again, it can be very dysregulating, and that's why so many of you guys freeze up, don't know what to say, think you sound stupid, delete your videos, etc. And have you ever compared yourself to the way that others show up? I hear this a lot from people. They're like, Jill, how the fuck do you show up so often and always with something to say? You sell so unapologetically. And the thing is I see everything I have to say on my platform as valuable. I don't discredit myself. I don't think I'm stupid. And I think that my thoughts are valuable to my potential soulmate clients and my audience, no matter what they are. And I also used to have a lot of judgments about people, specifically influencers actually, who would show up and share stories. And when I was a baby coach, I would see other coaches talking about themselves and their coaching and would feel very judgy about how they were doing it. But judgment is really just our fears projected outwards. I was afraid that if I showed up that way, that people would think I was annoying. I was afraid that if I sold every day, people would think I was salesy and pushy. I was afraid that if I shared client wins, people would think I was taking credit for my client wins and that I was bragging about myself. And when you're a woman who has been taught to put other people's emotions before her own, when you're a woman who is taught to be nice above all else, to make others feel comfortable even when you feel uncomfortable, and to prioritize being liked over everything else, it is very unconscious, but you will shy away from doing the very things required to sell in the online space, like show up consistently, sell your services with tenacity and boldness, share client wins and testimonials, and talk yourself up as the coach that can help others. This is something really sneaky that I have noticed that my brain does. It will say, but people can pick other coaches. Why would they choose you? And I had to really catch that thought because, again, it was sneaky, it was unconscious until it started coming up more and more. And I was like, oh, this is a problem. I need to start thinking that I am the coach for people and that they would choose me, that they want to work with me. The reason why imposter syndrome comes into play here is because so many of you don't want to talk yourself up, share your own wins or client wins, or post incessantly about your services because of the fear of not measuring up. This will also unconsciously manifest into the fear of being seen, because what if you're seen by others and you're being recognized and people want to work with you and they're disappointed, or they think you don't measure up? These poisonous thoughts that you believe are the truth will seep into your marketing, no doubt, if they are left unchecked. So I really believe that marketing yourself as a coach online takes a level of self-absorption and a level of audacity. Self-absorption by way of loving and accepting yourself, because it's going to feel impossible to talk yourself up, claim your coaching is the shit, and consistently market your services if you don't. And I want you to think about your own judgments around this and where you may have learned these judgments or learned that it was bad to celebrate or think highly of yourself. For me, I had a friend in high school who would routinely shoot me down when I wanted to celebrate myself at all. I remember making a good play in flag football and she said, "Oh, you just think you're so good, don't you?" I was like 15 at the time and I felt so stupid for wanting to feel good about myself. And emotions, especially negative ones, are the reason why experiences stick with us, because we can remember how something felt and it brings us back to that moment in time. And if something made us feel shitty like that, it's our natural impulse to not want to experience that feeling again. And if we can get an inkling that something might make us feel that way, we unconsciously avoid it and can self-sabotage ourselves in the process, because our unconscious desires are not worried about what's best for us, right? Especially because the best things for us usually require us to push our comfort zone, to do things that scare us, etc. So what if it just takes your nervous system some time to get accustomed to showing up confidently and consistently? What if you didn't beat yourself up for showing up, feeling hard or difficult, because you know it is just your brain and your body getting on board with this foreign action you're not used to taking? Even if you're so used to showing up but not selling directly, that is something you will have to be accustomed to doing. Oh my God, I see this all the fucking time. Somebody's like, "Jill, I show up all the time. I give so much value, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, I literally don't know what you sell. I don't know what your offer is. You have not directly sold in a week, even though, yeah, you're exhausted because you're showing up and doing all these things, but you haven't made any offers. Like I'm telling you, it took me time to acclimatize to directly selling my services without a long ass Instagram story where I gave value and then sold at the end of it, right? All of our actions become repetition at some point, but they also need to begin at some point too. And your nervous system, your brain, your body, they need time to get on board with this new life-threatening thing that you're doing, even if you rationally, consciously know that you're not going to die by uploading an Instagram story saying, "Hey bitch, work with me." You also have to learn how to have the audacity, the gall, the balls to get out there and do your thing, the guts to share your client wins, the guts to say, "I'm the best at what I do." I have multiple friends in the online space from the mastermind that I'm in, and something we all have in common is that we are ridiculously confident about our services, so much so that I am always responding to their Instagram stories being like, holy shit, the ball's on you to say this. Because when you have the audacity to be confident in yourself and your services, you will be rewarded sooner than you even realize. Having the audacity to share client wins and own where your credit is due, or to share your own wins, or to say that your coaching program is the shit, it goes against everything you've been taught as a woman, but it's fucking magnetic as a coach selling her services. I even think about the word salesy, and I just think it's crazy that we made it subliminally bad to sell our services. Recently, my client's mom was reviewing her webinar, and when my client got to the end where she was selling her 3-month coaching package, her mom said it was a bit too salesy, and then she told me this over Voxer. And I said, no offense to your mom, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. I think I specifically said, like, she doesn't know shit. And it sounds salesy because you're selling. It's supposed to sound salesy. None of this skirting around your sales, none of this pretending to not be selling something or about being secretive about it. If you are a coach who markets your services online, you are selling a fucking service. And I want you to have the audacity to be salesy as fuck. And that might require a level of self-absorption and definitely a level of being comfortable being seen. So like I said, I want you to sit down and brain dump all the judgments that you have of others and yourself when it comes to being seen on the internet and when it comes to selling your services. And I want you to include where you learned those judgments and fears from. And then light that bitch on fire when you've dumped it all out, taking back your energy and vowing to start to acclimatize your nervous system to this new version of yourself. The version of you that shows up just a little bit each day if you need to start slow, and getting yourself comfortable with showing yourself off. Your work is important, necessary, and deserves to be shared, but we can't experience it unless you put yourself out there. Your soulmate clients can't find you and love you and want to work with you if you don't take that step first. I would love to work with you on the fear of being seen, imposter syndrome, and being ridiculously in love with your coaching business in my one-to-one coaching program, Worthy and Wealthy. In 6 months, you'll double your confidence and double your clients. You get weekly coaching calls with me, a whole new curriculum to help you heal your shit and sign coaching clients, access to me in Voxer, and monthly workshops and group calls with my other private coaching clients. And if you book a sales call between now and January 31st, you will get my 2022 rate of $8,000, and the price will be increasing in exactly 1 week on February 1st. So head to the link in my show notes and book your sales call right meow. I love y'all, and I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to the From Imposter to Empowered podcast. Head to the show notes to find out how you can take this work deeper with me in one-to-one coaching or in the From Imposter to Empowered group program. In the show notes, you'll also find a free 3-day challenge to start the process of overcoming your inner imposter. And once you're done with all of that, screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram, tagging me at your coach Jill so we can connect. See you next time.